Hello and welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Pilgrim Porky, released in 1940. It's the 278th in the series and it's directed by Bob Clampett. You can find this fully restored on the Looney Tunes Gone Collection Volume 5 DVD set. It's also on the Porky Pig 101 DVD set. I've upscaled the image to approximate a HD look. Hopefully one day we'll get this in HD on Blu-ray, but for now, I think it looks pretty good. So in case you haven't seen this one, as it may not be shown on TV much due to the certain racial stereotypes that you'll see here and there, it's not too bad, but yeah, that's what would be preventing this one from being seen. But essentially, it's just a retelling of the journey of the Mayflower with Porky Pig as the captain, I guess, and it's also a spot gag cartoon that was popularized by Tex Avery, so this is Clampett's another attempt at him trying that particular style out, and I'll be discussing that in a moment as well. Now what you're going to see is a re-edit of the original audio commentary we did with my good friend Austin Kelly. I actually completely forgot I recorded with him for this one. I've done so many of these that I'm forgetting with who I recorded with. Yeah. In any case, you'll see a re-edit of that track, and then after that, you'll hear some new thoughts from me covering a few things that we missed. So grab some popcorn and enjoy. With me today, once again, is my good friend Austin Kelly. Say hi.
Hi, I want to point this out quickly. I think there was like a fly or something at the bottom of the screen at the beginning there with the Porky title card. Like over the Vitaphone logo, there was like a fly or something over the V. It disappeared quickly, but I kind of have a soft spot for this one. I don't know why I like it, but I guess it's kind of cool. It's got more like character than the other ones, the other spot gag cartoons, and then the other Clampett cartoons overall do, of the period at least. And you know, it's kind of okay, I think, but it's definitely by comparison with what other kind of stuff he had been doing at Warner's before, it's just okay.
So what we have here is, well, first of all, I love this gag, but we have another attempt by Bob Clampett to do a spot gag cartoon in the vein of Tex Avery, as we see this ship eating the anchor. It's ridiculous. But, you know, I think this was quite funny. It's one of his better ones, at least in my opinion. And we had in the back there Priscilla plus John, which I had no idea what it is. I mean, what's the reference in regards to that?
It is something to do with Priscilla and John Alden, who were a married couple during the 17th century, part of Pilgrim colony or something. That's all the information I could find on them, but it's an interesting reference that dates back to Pilgrims. Of course, you don't know that because it's American history and you're over in Australia.
We get, I think, Life on the Ocean Wave. We get a substitute, and we see Ship's Log. Ha ha, very fun. I do like this bit of animation here. I mean, it's obvious that they animated it once and then they just went backwards and forwards with it, but wow, it's got such great handwriting. And of course Eat It Joe's, which has been used I think a few times by now, but would still be used throughout Looney Tunes cartoon history.
Yeah, these are decent gags. Like I don't know why, but it cracks me up every time. That gag that we saw like a minute ago before the pen animation you noted with like the guy, like, and then the wave goes over him and he turns into like the walrus or the seal. I thought that was kind of funny.
I like the storm effects here. I mean, as you would have mentioned in a previous commentary, these are the cheaper cartoons that were produced by the studio. So to see these sort of effects, it's pretty impressive, I would think.
This is Ace Gamer animation here, probably with the lightning bolts. Although the animators between the two units, the Cats unit as it was called, and the color cartoon units over at Schlesinger Productions were separate, Ace animated effects on both of those units' cartoons.
And also this rain effects, it looks like it's like just live action rain just overlaid over, because it definitely looks too fine to be animated. I mean, you can just imagine all the time and effort it would take to do all that by hand. But
yeah, it's definitely not animated. It's definitely something from a live action film or just from a Warner's stock footage.
So this is the Alma Blurt impersonation, the I hope. So, which, as you mentioned to me before we recorded the commentary, this must be one of the last few times it's happened. So those are my original thoughts, and of course, thank you, Austin Kelly, for joining me on that one. And yeah, I completely forgot you were on that, and I pretty much forget who I've recorded with because I've done so many of these. But in any case, here are a few things that we didn't cover in that original track. And this is really more for those like myself, in case you couldn't tell, I'm not American, so I had to sort of look up all this stuff. And yeah, so this short is basically based off the journey of the Mayflower to Plymouth, and essentially it was a journey filled with pilgrims looking to escape religious repression and start a new life in the new world. And when they arrived, they were not prepared for the harsh winters, and most of them ended up passing away. And all of them would have passed away if not for the help of the indigenous population there, and the surviving. Those surviving celebrated the colony's first harvest with Native Americans in what's known as the first Thanksgiving. Yes, that is a completely simplified explanation, and I'm sure many others more familiar will elaborate further. Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, that's essentially what this short is doing a parody of. Well, those who know me know I'm a connoisseur of dad jokes. And yeah, there's plenty of them, and a few were pointed out in the commentary, with the ship's log and all that sort of stuff. But of course, we've got the flying fish. Yeah, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And how the land disappears over the horizon and you see the whole landmass just flip over. Again, beautiful, beautiful. Gotta love that. One pun that I get what was trying to be done, but it didn't quite work, and I think that's just because of the way it was shot, and that is the white caps, where you see the white caps forming on the ocean. I missed that so many times I've seen this short, and now when I pause it, oh, that's what they mean by white caps. So yeah, it wasn't particularly effective, but yeah. And yeah, evidence of civilization with beer everywhere. Of course, that's how it is, right? And of course, I like how Plymouth Rock actually has a name on it. And, I was looking into the Plymouth Rock history, and it's just fascinating that, this rock was apparently the landing place of the pilgrims, and yet that particular claim is still questioned to this day. There's all sorts of misinformation around, and some have doubted this. Some have said, oh, the pilgrims actually landed somewhere else. I'm not going to get into the argument here. I don't know enough to make a judgment on that. But what I will say is that, yeah, it's something that is hotly debated even to this day. And yeah, if we see another Tex Avery style joke, and you knew this gag was coming when you hear Robert C. Bruce, who was pretty much a staple for a lot of the Spock gag cartoons that Tex Avery did, when it says, the ship eases into Plymouth Rock, and then, yeah, of course it goes a lot faster, of course. Now, that whole chief sitting bull thing, I thought I'd look into it, and sure enough, there actually was a real chief sitting bull who, he was a real Native American, and he led his people against various United States government policies regarding land. And again, I'm simplifying it, I know, but he was a real person. But I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a caricature of him, and since Sitting Bull lived from 1831 to 1890, when he was sadly shot on a reservation, I don't know if this is meant to be him or not, given the time period this is supposed to take place in, but who knows? Let me know in the comments what you think on that one. And I've already mentioned the Al Pierce character, Elmer Blurt, the I hope, and essentially it was one of Al Pierce's most famous characters, and that whole I hope became a national catchphrase, and it was done quite a bit in pop culture around this time, although, as I mentioned in the track, yeah, it was starting to slowly fade out. Now, that FHA, me and Austin were still talking about in the commentary track, but Austin had forgotten, and then he remembered towards the end, but I found a little bit more information about it. So it's basically a US Federal Housing Administration mortgage insurance-backed mortgage loan. Say that fast 5 times. It allowed lower-income Americans to borrow money to afford a home, and it was a program that originated during the Great Depression, which completely makes sense. And it would have been fairly new-ish around that time, and obviously, they're playing a gag there with the pilgrims arriving, and yeah, they can afford a place to live there. One weird gag is that Statue of Liberty one, and yes, this is overthinking, I know, I get what was trying to be done in this gag, I know, but I should point out the Statue of Liberty was dedicated in 1886, well after this was done. I know I shouldn't look into things like that, but as we like to say with The Simpsons, sure hope somebody got fired for that blunder. And there's two song parodies here, one which is pretty apparent, and there was a parody of the song, Life on the Ocean Wave, and, I like the lyrics in this. It's quite nice, quite catchy. But what's interesting is, given the great success of 1937's Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, we do hear heave ho, if it's off to sea we go. Gee, I wonder what they're referencing there. Now, the sign that you see later, which again shows how much Clampett was trying to follow the whole Tex Avery spot gag formula, The Rains Came is definitely a movie, and they even pointed out in this, making my job a lot easier. And it was a movie released in 1939 starring Myrna Loy and Tyrone Power, which takes place in India, which at this point in time was still under colonial rule from England. I haven't seen it. If you have, let me know if it's a good movie to watch, or at least just check out. All in all, I enjoyed this short. It's definitely one of the better ones where Clampett was trying to ape the Tex Avery spot gag style. Again, I think Clampett's strength is when he actually does his own thing. I think when he tries to ape Avery, it's a bit of hit and miss. Some bits work better than others. I do like the fact that there was a running gag in this one. We have an Eddie Rochester gag, and Eddie Rochester I've mentioned many, many times on this channel. He's a character on the Jack Benny radio program, and yeah, we get the nice little running gag where he's trying to catch a fish. Yes, it is a stereotype and not acceptable today, but he was definitely a popular character in that Jack Benny program. So that sort of thing works, but then the white cap things, as I mentioned before, that didn't translate pretty well, and some of the gags are a little close to being eye rolls, so, and some of the things you can see coming a mile away, that as they're approaching the iceberg, you knew something was going to happen, and they're not going to hit it. You're just waiting for the gag to end, and some things do go a little bit too long. Well, this is a solid 7 out of cartoon, I think. I think that's being fair, and, it's funny. It's worth watching. Some bits, yes, again, not acceptable today, but I had fun with it. I had fun. So, it's definitely something to watch if you haven't watched it before. And as I said, it's on Porky 101. It's on Looney Tunes' own collection. I have links below in case you haven't got those collections. Bye, right? In any case, that'll wrap it up for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.